What up, world? Your boy's back. Philanthropy and Focus, the one and only nonprofit sector connector. There can only be one. There can only be one nonprofit sector connector. Do you know why? Because I made it up, man. That's what a lot of life is about. It's about making things up. It's about creation. It is about creating. Last night I had an opportunity. I didn't even know I'd say this today. I had an opportunity. I met this gentleman who owns a bakery out here on Long Island, and he sent me home with, forget about it. He sent me home with a box of Italian cookies, like 2.5 pounds of cookies. He sent cupcakes and cake pops home for the kids. Shout out to Francesco's Bakery out in Hicksville. I didn't know I was going to give you a shout out, but I bring it up because I said creation. He talked to me about his daughter, who is a phenom in this creation economy. You know, I didn't know this, but I was reading something on her Instagram last night that she that says it's going to be creators are going to be a $480 billion the content creation model. So wow, what does that mean? Why would I bring that up? Well, here's what. It's all about leaning in, doing something, trying it out, try the thing. It's not going to work out exactly how you thought it was going to work out. Philanthropy and Focus certainly hasn't worked out the way I thought it was going to work out. But I did, as I've told you before, walk around for 2 years and say, hey, man, I'm going to do this show. It's called Philanthropy and Focus, where I interview executive leaders and nonprofits. And I walked around for 2 years telling people why. I don't know why I walked around for 2 years, but right now we're over 150 episodes of something that was just an idea, just a figment of my imagination. Yes, I'm preaching a little bit. Try stuff out. If you want to make a freaking impact, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, do the planet a favor, do the thing. Do the thing, try it out, see what happens, see what the connections are going to be, see what the relationships are going to be. And that's what Philanthropy and Focus is for me. And it's an awesome journey. And I am a bit of a creator. I'm a bit of a showman. I might sing a song for you today. That could be for you if you like it. It's out there. I did it already. I just found out that my daughter has been taking singing lessons for the last couple of weeks. And 2023 was the year I was supposed to take singing lessons, and it didn't happen. So if you know me or you're a friend of mine and you see me, say, hey, kid, you said you were going to take the singing lessons. How about it? Because we got to listen to you every so often, break out into song. It'd be nice if you could carry a tune. It would help us out. It would help our ears out a little bit. Anyway, let's get into the show. Every single Friday morning, forever, I will be joining a leader of a nonprofit organization to meet with them, learn about what they do, to help them, as I like to say, tell their story and amplify their message. And that's what I'm doing. And that's why I made the nonprofit sector connector thing up. And I will tell you, the funny thing about it, shout out to my friend Heather Edwards, who's been on the show twice. She was actually on the 100th episode of my show, which was my birthday last year. And when Heather was on the show from Allied Foundation, it was a very special day. And I will tell you, I think somebody on the internet is telling me Tommy D, as in D for don't sing great. Oh, thanks. That's got to be like Mick Collins. Thanks, Mick Collins. I'm sure don't sing great. I'm a great singer. We'll talk about that later. Heather Edwards is becoming a nonprofit sector connector. She's my friend. She runs Allied Foundation, 3 million diapers. This is a one-person organization that has given 3 million diapers to Long Island and New York City families in need. I love you, Heather. I love what you've done, and I love what the things. Maybe I know you've taught me so much, and maybe I've taught you a couple things because I watch you connecting me now and making relationships. Anyway, let's get into it. Susan L. Combs is my guest. Susan and I actually have a lot of things in common, not just that she's married to a good buddy of mine who I love, and I'm sure she loves him. She's married to him. Shout out to Sean O'Rourke. Susan, good morning. Before I even rant and rave even anymore, how are you, my friend? What's going on?
I'm good. I'm good. I've already worked out. It's, been up since 5. I mean, half the day is over already, so I'm
I
good.
like that. You've already worked out, and I hit that box of cookies 3 times already. So we both we don't have that in common apparently. Although I do have ambition. We're joining the JCC right by my house. I've been shouting it out. We're joining the JCC. They got this track that goes around there. I'm really wanting to be honest. They got a sauna. They got a steam room. I'm pretty psyched about that. But here's what you might not know that we have in common before we get into the topic at hand, which is Pancakes for Roger, the new organization, the book in memory of your dad as a legacy. We're going to do all that. Do the thing, take the lessons. All right, Mick Collins, I will do the thing. I tell everybody to do the thing. I've seen stuff. He's shouting me out on YouTube. Love you, Mick Collins, paid forward processing. Do the thing. I will take the lessons because it will be better for everyone's ears. Paychecks, ADP.
Yeah.
8 years beginning of my career, I spent in payroll sales with ADP, carrying around red binders. And we didn't know each other then, but you were carrying around blue
Blue
binders.
binders, blue
That's it.
binders. Yeah.
That's it. I used to laugh about that because it was always like, it's funny, even to this day, we're both in the same world again. I mean, I own an employee benefits agency with my partners, and you've been in the benefits space for many, many years. So it's very funny that we have these things in common. And obviously, thank you to Sean for texting me a couple of weeks ago going, listen, it's a nonprofit now. And I
Mhm.
said, does this mean I get to eat pancakes? We'll get into that whole thing. But we have that in common. And something I wrote down, do more better.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Because it relates to a lot of what I do in the nonprofit world, I think. But you tell me what it means from your perspective.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of David Goggins. We actually have the same publisher. And David Goggins always says basically everybody kind of works at the 80%. So there's always one more thing you can do, one more mile you can run, one more event you can crush, one more meeting you can take. And so, the do more better is actually something that was taught to me by a mentor right before I became national president for Women Insurance and Financial Services, another nonprofit. And she's like, we always just need to look at doing more better. And so I took that to heart, and I incorporate that in my business. I incorporate that in the nonprofit. That's kind of going to be the tagline for Pancakes to Roger, is do more better. Because there's always one more thing we can do. Even when we're exhausted, even when it's been such a long day, or we've had an 80-hour work week. I mean, you're in the insurance space.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter was hell for us, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's certain kind of hell this year.
Yeah.
But there's always one more thing you can do, and you can always do things better. So, all of us, we can be perfectionists and things like that, but you can always do a little bit more, do a little bit things in a different way too.
Yeah, I got to shout out. I don't shout her out too much on the show, but my friend Joe, who absolutely is a mentor to me, a coach to me. Shout out to Joe. A little bit of the ADHD that Tommy D has. She helps me harness some of that creativity, and I'll tell you, with Joe, she told me about this thing called priming, which is something that Tony Robbins does,
Mhm.
and I've been doing it like 3 days in a row. And it's funny because my son, I did this priming this morning, which is like you do this breathing, and you do it like 30 times, and then you just do some things you're grateful for. And it's like a 15-minute session, right? So I go, all right, let's go. I did that. I get out of bed. I go, let's go, Tommy D. Get out of bed, get your feet on the floor. And my son walks past me. This morning. This is what this show is like, Susan. It's like stream of consciousness. So,
I
so
get
my son, can you relate? My son walks past me. He goes, dude, did you just like, or I think he said, bro, he's 12. Bro, did you just like tell yourself, like, get up, yo, let's go. You got to coach yourself, baby. Let's go. Get it moving. Like I'm telling you, let's go. Like he plays CYO basketball. He plays a lot. He plays baseball, travel ball, all the stuff he plays. He's retired from flag football, but that's a different story. So I'm like, that's what you got to do. A little, you say do more better. I say, let's go, get big, push a little harder.
Mhm.
Yesterday I had this deadline I was working on, and I went to bed at like about 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I was at my computer at 5 a.m. I didn't really want to be at my computer at 5 a.m. I listened to a 2 hour Goggins thing about a week ago, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if you know this guy, Huberman. He's got a podcast.
Mhm.
He's a scientist, and he was interviewing Goggins. And, you know, eh, that's other level as Goggins guy, like other level. He like no excuses, like disinterested, and just get up and do the freaking thing. Like and I'm sure you're familiar with him, so I'm sure like maybe you saw this stuff. He moved in with Jesse Itzler for like a month, and like had him like waking up, going into like ponds that were frozen over and crazy stuff like that. Point of the matter is, what if you push yourself? What's the phrase, Susan? Successful people do what unsuccessful people don't want to do. It's not like rocket science, man. It's not like big creative stuff. It's like just friggin' do it. I would have used a different word, but I don't curse that much on the show. But it's like just do the thing, right? I mean, tell me.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people just make excuses, right? And it's just, and there's a lot of, I think, victim mentality. And so it's just like you can be victim mentality and stand in the middle of the room, say, who's going to save me? Or it's like, Marcus Aurelius, my favorite quote from him is get active in your own rescue. And
Yes.
so it's just like, you can't, you got to be your own hero and show up for yourself. And, at the end of the day, like, nobody cares more about yourself than you do. So it's just like, if you can show up and you have to like make the effort, my just kind of a story on my dad.
Yeah.
Um, one time my dad was in Florida with my grandfather, my mom's father, who was a paratrooper in World War II. And he had a sailboat, and my dad, growing up on a dairy farm in Missouri, we didn't have open water,
Right.
and so they were doing the sailboat, and then they kind of like it just wasn't going anywhere. And so they had to row. And then the next day when they were in a shop, there was a sign that said "Pray to God, but row to shore." And so my dad bought that sign, and that sign was in my dad's his judge's chambers for about 20 years. And so that's always been kind of something that was taught to me by my dad, is like, hey, you can pray to God and try to get help in other ways, but you still have to make the effort yourself.
100%, man. Pray to God, but row to shore. It's about the activity. It's about doing the thing, right? Like I don't even know where that came from with me just starting to say that on this show, like just do the thing. Because I look at the show as representation of people just, yeah, 2 freaking years. I'm talking to people about doing the show. And then I just didn't do it. Like pray to God, but row to shore. Yo, listen, I grew up Roman Catholic. I'm not religious anymore, any of this stuff, but I will tell you, I'm very into Dr. Joe Dispenza. Certainly my old friend Tony Robbins, as we've talked about already. Look, you can look at all this techniques and all this stuff, but you gotta actually get up and do the freaking thing. Like none of it matters. You can read all the books, you can do all the studies, but you actually have to put your shoes on and get outside, or whatever the case is, to get involved and do it. All right, wow. We're like all over the map, which is exactly what my brain is like. So there's dopamine. It's dopamine all over my desk, everybody. It's a mess over here. Forget about it. It's a lot of fun though. Susan, when I first connected with you, honestly, and I don't know if you remember this, Sean and I knew each other. Sean O'Rourke, my buddy, your husband, knew each other from networking.
Yeah.
I'm out here on Long Island. You guys are in Queens, right? New York City networking scene, all this stuff. And you had written part of this book. You had like written a chapter in Above and Beyond the Glass Ceiling. And I remember, right? We were at this spot and it was almost like a Romeo and Juliet. You were up on a balcony. I don't know if you remember, like you were giving
Yeah.
a speech. It was like a co-working space. I don't know what it's called, the wall or something.
The yard.
The yard. And you remember this night? You were like up
Yeah.
there, you were like
It was pouring rain. Yeah.
yes,
And
but I
people
had
still showed up. That
people
impressed me.
showed up,
Yeah.
and that's actually the first time we met. You and I have another like long standing connection in other ways we don't need to get into today, but it's just there's like really cool, I think really cool parallels.
You showed up at our gym. My
I
husband
did
tried to
show,
kill
all
you
right,
in the
so
workout.
so
Yeah.
let's talk about that. Since you brought it up, it was actually the day they almost had to plan a funeral that afternoon because Sean O'Rourke, because I'm a big mouth, so
He's a
Sean,
beast. He's a
but
beast.
he's a beast and I'm not. And he invites me to, he does this thing, and I know there's a challenge, I'm sure, before the show is over today. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of challenge we got to talk about for people. I'm going to come up with my own challenge because I think it'll be more palatable for what I like to do. But Sean and I used to record videos together. He still does. I can't make it to that meeting on Fridays anymore, but we recorded videos. It used to be right after this show at 11 a.m. And he says, hey, I want to send this out to the group here, just putting it out there. It's not a networking group per se. It's where we get together and do videos. And he goes, look, if you want, come out. We're doing, I don't know what he called it,
Endurance class.
an endurance classic. Now I'm a guy who has not, I mean, I drive past the gym on my way to other places and stuff like that. I wave at people as they go in the gym, that sort of thing. But shout out, like I said, JCC, shout out to the new Tommy D at the JCC, that rhymes. But I showed up on a Sunday morning, man, right? It was like super, like it was like 6, 7, 6:30, 6:15 on a Sunday morning. It's beautiful, spring day. I remember it because I almost died that day. So Sean, I know you're listening. So I show up and it's early, man. And I'm probably, because I'm Tommy D, I'm probably like, let me just have a Red Bull, right? So a Red Bull, maybe a cup of coffee, and I get to this gym, which is not really a gym. It was more like if you're gonna join the military, it was like a boot
It's a
camp.
box. It's a CrossFit and strongman gym. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you open the garage door and there's like a gym there. It's like a giant garage door. And like, okay, you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do this. And now I should have been like, if you remember, getting curves back in the day. Like that's what I belong. Like I needed to be at curves, a little circuit training, a little like raise your legs, raise this leg, right, jump around. No, I'm at this thing where Sean wants me to start with pull-ups. Now I don't have a lot of upper body strength, obviously, because I could not pull my body up. And finally, I'm doing the running, I'm doing different things. And I was not doing good. And Sean goes, why don't you do me a favor and like do you a favor? It's like, why don't you just go run around the block a little bit? Like, it's like sort of like what you would tell a child. Like, hey, the boys
corner in color.
right? The men over here are playing, right? Like the men are playing a game. Why don't you go out there and like, I don't know, why don't you kick that ball around by yourself? Like that's what he did to me that day. And I love him for it because I needed that because I was gonna die. So I just jogged up and down the streets of Astoria that that morning. And he's like, have you eaten? And I go, nah, man. So I'm at a bodega across the street from this spot buying a banana, while I'm like, my body is shaking. Anyway, what that's how that Sunday morning went. That is not exactly how you recruit people into that work you
No,
guys.
but imagine being married to that man. That's life every day.
But you're into that. I've seen some of the stuff you're doing. I mean, you're powerlifting, right? You're doing really, you're no slouch here. Let's be
No.
honest.
No.
Yeah. And the competition, I'm sure, is That's got to be some household. And there's animals there too. What kind of animals do you guys have
What? Oh, in our house?
in the house? Yes,
Oh yeah, we have a dog and a cat.
a
Yeah.
dog and a cat.
I
That was a
thought
good.
you meant animals at the competition. I was like, we have no animals at the competition.
No.
Just
That's a
people.
whole nother thing. That's another show I do called The Professionals and Animal Lovers Show, which we actually interviewed Sean on that show. That's last year. But no, I was just remembering sometimes the animals show up when I'm on meetings with Sean. All right, we're way over on a break, which is part of the show. Two things happen on this show. We always have more words than we have time to say them. And at times we laugh. And we've done some of that already. Susan, when you come back, we'll take a quick break. When you come back, I want to dive into a little bit more. We don't even know if we got into your business background all that much, other than the leadership of, the National Insurance Women's Organization, things like that. I want to hear a little bit about your business because I think it's important people know who you are. And then we're going to bring that into the story of Pancakes for Roger, why it exists, what it's about, and the impact you're trying to make. And hint, hint, how many pancakes is your boy going to eat in the month of February? We're going to find that out today. Right now, we're going to find out how many I'm going to eat. Right back, Tommy D.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
What a song, what a song, what a song. Shout out to Uncle Brendan, my buddy Brendan Levy at the Queen's Chamber of Commerce. We wrote that one together, that little ditty. Nonprofits need connections to move in the right direction. So cut through all the static. Join your boy in the attic. 2 flights of stairs up from the kitchen. That's the journey I make for you all. It's a journey I make to do my work too, but it's just funny. And yeah, it does have a little reminiscent like the Monkees for sure. Shout out. It's funny, gang. Like I'm talking to you all who are listening or watching because, I was always like jealous, like when the talk show host leans into the guest and when we go to commercial and we don't know what they're talking about. And I wonder, are they talking about, hey, we should go grab a slice of pizza after this? Or I always wonder. So here's the thing. So we have our little chat going on while you all are at break and you step up and get a new coffee, whatever you do when we're on break. But we have our own little banter going on. And Logan's giving me a hard time about that. I never make our marks on the break, which is funny because it's kind of when you never do it, it means that's actually the way now. The obstacle is the way. And the way is we always miss our marks on this show, except for that last mark, because my buddy Steve Fry, the SMB guy, you just heard him on the commercial break there, does his show right after that. Always Friday. It's always Friday, he tells us. And I don't know if it's always Friday because there's 6 other days in the week, but that's a whole nother thing. I got to call something out and then we got to get back into it with Susan. Susan gives me a little bit of the business here in the chat, and she says she expects me to yell out squirrel. Now, I will tell you this story, and this is a true story because it's true. Because I was not in the attic one day, but I was at the dining room table here in the house, and I was looking out my yard while I was on a Zoom call. And I literally had to come back to the Zoom call like 3 seconds and go, I'm sorry, I totally missed that. I literally saw a squirrel run past in the yard behind the glass door, and I literally got distracted. And because of the charm and personality, I was able to get away with it. And they were like, they thought it was cute and funny, and they weren't like, I didn't get a demerit for missing part of the meeting. But
You say
sometimes
I nailed the comment is what you're
you
saying.
hit it like you hit it like 100, like that is a real thing that happened. That's not like somebody's squirrel. No, like I saw it.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I can size people up in about 10 seconds, you know?
I am a big Tommy D fan, so it's all good. All right, let's do it. Let's get into this. What you're in the insurance business, but you're not like solely an insurance broker per se. I mean, you're an expert witness. You really dove deep. So give me like, why was that so important to you to become that expert level in your game, sort of level up, skill cards, the whole thing?
I mean, to be honest, I didn't set out to be an expert witness. I was approached to be one. So I've had an insurance brokerage in New York City since 2005. I mean, it's full service. We do life insurance, health insurance, all aspects of business insurance, kidnap and ransom, aviation. We insure clowns, sober coaches, a lot of weird shit, you know?
Oh, hold on. You insure clowns? Go back. No way I let you pass that one by me. Get it. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, clowns, their main exposure is molestation coverage, unfortunately.
Literally, you're not saying like people who are silly people. You mean clown.
No, professional clowns, yeah.
Wow. Oh my God, I love that.
So we're kind of known as experts in the weird and unusual when it comes to insurance. So we get a lot of referrals from brokers all across the country because, you know, some type of property and casualty brokers, a lot of times they're just like, okay, you know, homeowners and auto, or like, hey, just office policies and stuff like that. But we'll do real quirky things like robots that you know, are charging electric vehicles and things like that. So we'll do some kind of crazy stuff, but it's cool. But you know, so I was actually approached in 2015 by a really large law firm, a national law firm, that said, hey, we want to talk about using the Affordable Care Act to look at defense costs in medical malpractice cases or construction or workers' comp claims. So my name started getting passed around. I have the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act certification. There's only, I think, 7 of us in the New York City metro area, so, or tri-state area rather. And I'm a pretty good marketer. So I work as a national expert witness for, you know, Kaiser Permanente, AIG, Chubb, the doctors, Methodist Hospital, Johns Hopkins. I work in 41 states on the expert side. So I get paid for people to be mean to me, to be honest.
So when you say that, is that like, are you on like at the witness stand during
Yes.
litigation? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you about that, because I tell you the truth. Well, I always tell the truth, but I in this case, I always wanted to be an attorney.
Mhm.
But there was this thing that got in the way of me and being an attorney, and it has so
Squirrels,
far.
squirrels.
It was, well, I mean, maybe. I mean, it could have been a problem. I didn't want to go to law school because I didn't think I could. So I didn't think I would really enjoy it, like where I'd stay focused. All right. So maybe it is squirrels. Maybe that's just semantics. Maybe that's what we're doing here. But I think that seems like a cool thing to be
I
on
mean, it's
the stand or
cool,
what.
but not everybody's a good expert witness. I mean, because the thing is with an expert witness, I mean, I'm a strategist. That's what it comes down to.
Right.
And so I get paid for strategy, and I get paid to, you know, look at things kind of at a 30,000-foot view. And a lot of times with these court cases, the attorneys and people being sued are so close to it, they can't take a step back and look at maybe some different ideas. And since I work in so many different states, I can see what different states do, different attorneys do, and I can kind of bring some different things to the table. But I mean, it's high stress.
Yeah.
You know, it's high stress. I mean, a lot of times, I mean, 95% of the court cases settle.
Yeah.
But you know, you have trials, you have depositions, you have arbitrations. You have to be on your game. You have to not be rattled when somebody is mean to you.
Yeah.
And understand if somebody's jumping up and down and screaming at you, you're probably winning because you're frustrating them. So you have to like kind of flip the script in your head. Because normally we would kind of like shrink down and be like, oh,
Yeah.
at me. But it's a different mindset.
You got them on the ropes. You know, you got it. So you have to really, so like a little bit of emotional intelligence there, realizing, oh, this one's making a scene because we got them right when we want them.
Yeah.
So that composure, right? That poise is what you really need to pull from at that point.
Well, and you also like, to be a good expert, I feel like you need to understand the why of every question that's being asked you. And so you have to be able to think very, very quickly on your feet. And because a lot of times when it comes to these things, they're wanting sound bites. So you have to make sure to tell the story and a full story. And sometimes they can try to pigeonhole you. So you're understanding how to kind of navigate that can be pretty interesting.
that's got to be cool. Now, is that that part of your business? I know you've been doing it for years now. Is that you want more of that? Is it just going to come in because of who you are and you're elevated at that level? So it's kind of just going to feed into itself?
I mean, to be honest, in the work that I do, there's only one other gentleman that does what I do.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so it's just, I'm pretty highly sought after. So
Yeah.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything like that. It's just a
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah. Facts,
So
facts.
it's just, like I said, 41 states.
Yeah.
So my name gets passed around a lot. I work with a lot of different, law firms, national law firms, local law firms, different insurance carriers, reinsurance carriers. It's just, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm interpreting insurance contracts. I'm
Yeah.
explaining how insurance works.
Right.
And a lot of times people don't understand that. So, I mean, I can work on both sides, defense and plaintiff. A lot of times plaintiffs don't bring me in because they don't want a chance of any money going down, to be honest. But my reports would be exactly the same for plaintiff as it was for defense, because again, I'm interpreting contracts.
Right.
I mean, my reports are the reports.
The
Yeah.
data is there. You're interpreting the data, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Wow. So has that by getting involved there, has that it has to have taken you away from like running day-to-day operations of the agency? So you have an incredible team that does a lot of that, or not so much?
I mean, I'm still heavily involved, and I run the brokerage firm and kind of the day-to-day things. When it comes to sales, I've stepped back, from sales, on certain aspects, just because, the capacity. But I mean, I live and die by my calendar. And so I have like a 2-hour block of expert witnessing every single day. So technically speaking, I have 10 hours allocated to expert witnessing. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, it just depends on the week. But so I'm still heavily involved in the brokerage firm as well.
I love that. And there's a little tip for everybody. We joke about, the squirrel, we joke about calendaring, but let's be honest, gang, it's about that. I mean, I live and die by my Outlook calendar, and I must. I say, it drives some people like in my personal life crazy. I'm like, just get it on my calendar.
Yeah.
Like, just get it on my freaking calendar and I'll be there. Like, but otherwise it doesn't exist. And I know how I am personally. But isn't that what we're supposed to do? Like, find what you need, gang. It's not just me. We're all different. Figure out what tools and situations you need around you to fix the things, to kind of smooth off the edges, so to speak. So, Susan, Pancakes for Roger.
Mhm.
Let's go. Tell me about this. I mean, it's a book, it's an organization now. I'm gonna say it. You didn't say it. I'm gonna say it's a movement, man, because I know what I'm gonna be doing in February. So let's talk about it. What is this about?
So, I mean, in a nutshell, I mean, I would call it a movement, to be honest. This Pancakes for Roger was a concept that was started by my late father when he made a request for pancakes when he was on hospice. I moved from Missouri, or from New York City, to Missouri to be a caretaker for him. And we kind of had a cadence of a schedule every single morning. I'd get up, I'd check on him. I'd go to the gym if he was good. I'd come back from the gym, I'd check on him again. If he was good, I would go shower, get ready for the day, and then get him ready. And so one morning he made a request for pancakes, and he was on hospice, and he had a DNR, and he was on oxygen, and he had a feeding tube, and pancakes just weren't in the cards. So, we use that as kind of a message to encourage people to, remember that life can change in the blink of an eye, and things like enjoying a stack of pancakes could just no longer be in the cards.
Wow.
So, and I know we're getting ready for a break, but
but this is what I wanted to do. I set it up that way. We're gonna go to a break, but here's the thing, gang. I just talked to a friend of mine this morning, and it was about gratitude. And it's because what I'm hearing to you is sometimes the quote unquote little things, like enjoying a stack of pancakes, man. I'll be going to a funeral this evening for a friend of mine whose business partner, who was a friend of mine too. I knew him for a number of years, passed away at 49 years old, tragically. People die.
Yeah.
Lives end, relationships end. Appreciate the moments right now. Listen, you mentioned Marcus Aurelius. I wanted to shout out my friend Machen McDonald, who was big on the Stoics, and Machen hit me with the Stoics. And talk about the hero's journey and things like that. Gang, man, listen, life is fleeting. It's short. One day your boy is not going to be here up in the attic. I'm not trying to be silly about it, but that's real stuff. We're not going to be here 100 years from now. None of us are going to be here, right? I mean, I don't know about AI and what's going to happen, and maybe they'll take a Tommy D. Maybe it'll be a Tommy D robot, Susan Combs. I don't know. That's a hell of a robot. I would buy it. But seriously, life moves fast. I sound like Ferris Bueller, but life moves fast, and it's fleeting. Appreciate the ones around you. Say thank you. Give the hug. Tell people you love them, because shit, man, they might not be there next week to tell them that. So we're leaving them on a cliffhanger, only for about a minute and a half. We're going to be right back. We're going to talk more about your dad, who was Major General Roger E. Combs. We're going to talk about veterans. We're going to talk about what the organization has done, what you've done in Missouri, what's the veterans. I mean, there's so much to cover. We have the time to do it. It's how do we help, right, gang? What's the impact the organization is making? That's where the rest of the show goes. Your boy, the one and only Tommy D. Well, there's others, but me. Right back.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy and Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
What really drives success in business? Introducing Intangify, the show that explores the intangible assets that create value and growth. I'm Matthew Aspel, your host and an attorney focused on innovation. Join me Fridays at noon Eastern to discover how innovation, culture, and other intangibles shape thriving companies from startups to established businesses. We'll share strategies to unleash your business's true potential. Tune in live on talkradio.nyc Fridays at noon Eastern and Intangify your business today.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
In the year 2024, which started about 4 weeks ago, I changed something on my calendar, and it said, every morning it says, I get to drive my children to school. I get to drive my children to school, because some of us go, man, I gotta go do this, or I gotta go do. No, you get to do these things. And this is not because I'm some philosopher. I totally ripped that off from somebody else, but it says it on my calendar every morning between the hours of 6 and 8. That's where I am. That's what I'm doing. And that is a blessing. And not everybody gets to do that. And I was talking to somebody else again this morning, actually, same conversation I was having this morning. And it was about, we don't all get these opportunities. People don't get to meet their grandparents. Some people never knew their parents. Some people never knew their mom, their dad, right? Some people, I do a lot of work with organizations here that, shout out to A Moment of Magic, shout out to my friend at the Little St. Nick Foundation, my friends there, Ray and Kylie at these organizations, because they go see these children who are often terminally ill in cancer wards and hospitals. And some children don't make it. Listen, gang, please hug the people around you. Susan, tell me about your dad. I mean, I don't know. I've never discussed him with you today. I've never discussed him with you at all. But today I want to hear. I've read about some of your relationship that's on the internet with your dad and the book and the whole thing. But please tell us about that.
Yeah, my dad was pretty special. And I even talk about in the book that I know I had a great father, and I understand that not everybody did. So I do try to recognize that, because like you said, every family is different. Everybody goes through different experiences. My brother is actually the longest surviving male bone marrow transplant out of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Oh, your brother?
Yeah. And so he's this year will actually be 33 years since his bone marrow transplant, and he had a 16% chance of survival.
Can we say hello? What's your brother's name?
Matt.
Hey, Matt.
And Matt's actually a hospice nurse now. He was an oncologist nurse for a number of years, and he's now a hospice nurse. So,
oh my God,
yeah.
Matt, thank you for I'm gonna get emotional as this happens. Matt, thank you for everything you're doing, man.
Yeah.
Really changing the world. Wow.
Pretty amazing. He's pretty amazing. So yeah, so our father was a great guy. I mean, our dad, I mean, he was in the military. He served 39 years and 4 months. He served in 3 branches of the armed forces. He was a Marine Corps helicopter pilot in Vietnam. He went on to be in the Army Reserves and then Air National Guard. So when he retired, he was on the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the Army and Air National Guard in Washington, D.C. And he was just one of those guys that he was good when nobody was watching. And this was evident. After our father passed in 2018, the stories that came out from people that had encountered our father. I mean, one of the things that I remember is I think about the day after our dad passed. I went to the gym because that was my solace during when my dad was sick. And I went to the gym, and when I was walking back from the gym, I heard a clanging, and something just said to me, "Look up." And I looked up, and I'm from a town of 1,000 people. It's called King City, Missouri. And the post office had put the flag at half mast for my father.
Oh, wow.
And, if that's not a testament to somebody's life and the impact they had in a small town, I don't know what is. That same post office, my brother went and picked up the mail the day after our dad passed. And the postmaster said to my brother, he said, your dad was just so great. They said, about a year ago, it was the summertime, and your mom came and picked up the mail and the air conditioner went out here. And so apparently she shared that information with your dad. And about 10 minutes later, Roger Combs was walking into the post office with a fan and bottles of water, to make sure that they were okay.
He was that guy. I know that guy.
He snowblowed the whole town. Like, he would snowblow Main Street, when we'd have winter storms. He was just that guy. I mean, I was back home over Christmas. I mean, and when I was back home, there's, some family friends that were kind of surrogate grandfather for me that are, the gentleman's now in the nursing home. And he just said, "Oh, your dad," he said, "your dad would always slip me $100 bill every time I saw him." Cause my dad knew he was on limited income. And he was like, "This is what I can do to help," and, he was just one of those guys. I mean, he was a civilian judge in his civilian life. So my dad had two full-time careers my entire life. And there was a woman that reached out to me she's in her 50s now. And she said, "I just wanted to tell you that your dad made me safe when nobody else did." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "I didn't have a good childhood." And she said, "I didn't have the greatest parents." And she said, "When there was a custody battle, your dad had me come into his judge's chambers. He took off his formal, judge's robe and sat down on the floor with me, showed me pictures of you kids, and talked to me about what was going to be best for me and what was going to be the best place for me to live." And he said, "Your dad made me feel safe when nobody else did." So, it's just
there's so many of those stories like that, like even as children of like, even as you knew your dad and him from what a daughter knows, and you obviously had incredible and still do admiration and love. However, you don't know all these stories that how he touches the whole world. And I always find that to be interesting. Like, tonight when I do go to this funeral for this man who passed away way too early, it's like a celebration of his life this evening, and it's going to be people talking about the impact he made. And I always find that isn't it an interesting thing to think about when that all goes on? One day you and I both won't be here, right? And there'll be people talking about us and what we
hopefully.
Right. I hope. Well, they're going to be talking. I don't think they'll be saying good things, but they're going to be saying something. But if they, I wonder if we're actually there and we can hear them. I wonder that.
I think so.
You think so? So
I feel that the people that passed are just without our reach.
They're still here, right? Around. Yeah.
I get a lot of signs from my dad. I think if you're open to that stuff, you get it.
Right.
You just have to ask.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, you do get signs. Yeah, I believe that. I definitely believe that. That's so awesome. He was obviously an incredible veteran, as we talked about, right? Talk to me about the community. I mean, since you've started this mission, the book, the whole thing, the money you've raised, where has it gone? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so for the past 5 years, I've ran a fundraiser for the University of Missouri School of Law Veterans Clinic. So the Veterans Clinic provides free legal services for veterans and their families navigating the VA claims and appeals process, discharge upgrades, and a whole lot more. So that's been the charity that I've supported. So what we've done is, as I mentioned before the break, there was one morning that I was going to be getting the feeding tube formula ready for my dad. And I couldn't find him in his hospital bed, and I was looking for him, and then I found him in the kitchen, and he had set the table. He had his placemat, he had the plate, he had the silverware, and I said, Dad, what are you doing? And he said, I want pancakes for breakfast. And I knew I couldn't give it to him because he had a feeding tube. We were on hospice, had a DNR, and it just broke my heart. And I was like, there's nothing in this world I want to do for you, pancakes.
Right.
But I was like, if you choke here, I think we're done, and we're just not ready to be done yet, I don't think. So, after he passed, I took one day off of work, and, my husband, Sean, that you mentioned, he said, why don't we go have some pancakes for your dad? So we went to the Bel Air Diner in Astoria, Queens, and my husband took the first picture, and I told the story on social media, and I said, if you're so inclined, why don't you go have some pancakes for Roger and remember all your blessings in your life and all the little things, because life can change in a blink of an eye. So it was just a freaking story I told on social media.
But that's all it is. But that's all the whole thing is a story. Like my 8-year-old, we were talking the other night, and I said something. He was talking about names, and he goes, yeah, well, those are made up too. And I go, oh yeah, they are.
Yeah.
It's all made up. Somebody came up, right? One time we didn't speak, or we didn't have words, and then we did. And then somebody said, I'm going to call you Tommy D. And I said, that's a good name. I'll take that one. But that's what, like, it's all made up. So your quote unquote, it was just a story. Of course, everything is just a story. Isn't that it?
It was just a story. And then people started having pancakes, and they started sending me pictures of pancakes. And then I had people that said, Susan, I can't have pancakes and not think about your dad. And then people said, I've started talking to my children about military service and doing good. And so, it just started that way. And so my father's birthday was February 22nd. So that's why we focused on February. Okay. So then what we decided to do is every February, for every pancake loving picture that we get on social media using the hashtag Pancakes for Roger, that my company makes a donation to the Veterans Clinic in his honor. So that's how it started, right? So it's just like, so last year, we hit all 50 states, we got 24 additional countries, and we hit all 7 continents. And it was sick. I mean, it was sick.
I'm going to share, while you're talking, I'm going to share the website. So the website is Pancakes for Roger, all spelled out.
Yep.com.
Share it. Yep. Yep.com.
Yep. And so it's just like, it started as a movement, to be honest, initially. Mm-hmm. And then I had people be after me to write a book for a number of years. And so when people were after me to write a book, I had always done when I publicly speak, I would end with quotes that I've gotten along the way. Yeah, you can see like all the freaking countries. It's insane.
If you're only listening, gang, go to pancakesforroger.com, please. There's a map. You drop it down. It says pancake map. What a party. Like, what a great, again, it all just came out of that morning, right? Yeah. And now it is a movement. Look at all. I mean, I'm going to put out a challenge myself. I want sponsors. I want to see. So back in the day when we were kids, you had the math competition, or I'm going to run around the track so many times. Remember when we were kids, Susan, and was trying to raise money for school? So I'm encouraging everybody. I want you to text me. I want you to reach out to me via email, TommyD@philanthropyandphocus.com, PHOCUS. You know that by now. And hit me up on Instagram, TommyD.NYC. And I want you to say, hey, Tommy D, for every pancake you eat in the month of February, we're going to pledge. It was a pledge. That was the word. We're going to pledge you $1, a quarter, $10. But my goal is to eat 100 pancakes in the month of February, which
I don't even do that. And I have to have pancakes almost every other day of the month.
I'm telling you, my goal is 100 pancakes. And I tell you that only so you guys can be conservative in your efforts on what you're going to pledge me, how much you want to be out at the month of February. So I
will say, so since we are a nonprofit, I mean, we incorporated as a nonprofit in December of this year. Yep. So we are doing some different things this year, because now Pancakes for Roger is an official nonprofit. So
tell us about that. Yep.
So so we're going to continue to support the Veterans Clinic, through our fundraising efforts and things like that for through the pancake picture fundraiser. We do have Instagram and Facebook channels now for Pancakes for Roger, so you can also tag them. But the only thing I always tell people is your profiles have to be public facing. Okay. Because it's just like if you're putting stuff on stories and they're private and you're not tagging our accounts, we don't see them. Right. So it's just like, so we like to make sure that you either tag our accounts, use the hashtag. And then, like I said, we've incorporated as a nonprofit. So we do have some sponsorship opportunities. We're running 2 weightlifting competitions in February this year. Good. And so one's in New York City, one's in Kansas City. And then, the goal, we're building an endowment right now. And so the goal is, we're going to, our mission is to unite veterans with funding opportunities to do good in their backyards and beyond. So what that means is we're going to eventually be able to give grants to veterans that want to do different projects. So say you have a veteran that's a little league coach in their community, but they have no equipment.
Right.
And they need to buy equipment. We're having a lot of fun with it because there's a lot of themes with the book. Like there's drive the car. So it's just like, we might do like a theme next year for drive the car. Like this year it's dragon slaying. So it's just like we're slaying dragons because it's also the year of the dragon.
It is in
New Year.
Chinese
Yeah.
New Year. All right, we got to take a break because you did tell me in the chat, so he's not going to call you out because you've been beating me up a little bit this morning. So I'm going to say, Susan let Logan know in the chat that she was on time for the last break and I wasn't. But guess what, gang? It's my show. I do whatever I want. All right, we're going to be right back. Susan, when we come back, I want to hear more about the weightlifting competition, which I don't believe I'm in. I don't believe I'll be in that, but I am in the pancake competition. I do want to say one thing. My friend Logan tells me in the chat, he goes, yeah, Tommy D, that's like 4 pancakes a day. But guess what, everybody? It's
Silver dollar.
It's a leap year. I get an extra day this year to eat pancakes.
I would do silver dollar pancakes.
So that was my joke. I was going to use that all over Instagram. I was just going to go eat silver dollars. Now you screwed that up for me. Now I got to eat big pancakes. IHOP, here I come. By the way, can we get them to? I'm going to pick one of these sponsorship levels when we come back myself. But can we get like an IHOP or somebody like I don't know, one of these big pancake companies to support that? Let's talk about it. We'll be right back. Your boy Tommy D and my friend Susan Combs. This is Philanthropy in Focus. Pancakes for Roger. Right back.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Broncu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
I don't want to be as bold to say it's like my fans know, but those who pay attention and listen to the program know that I always wanted to be a game show host. And I still do, and I think I will do. But this is the lightning round. Bing, 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 bing. This is the lightning round, gang. We're going to get out of here shortly. We got to make sure we leave it all on the field, as they say, or leave it all in the garage gym out in Queens, where I almost died on a Sunday morning.
Or the attic.
Or the attic. Leave it all in the attic. I leave everything. You should see this place. It's a mess. My wife goes, could you clean the attic? That's a whole nother story for another day, gang. We're not going to do that one now. Susan, first of all, sponsorship levels. These sponsorship levels that I shared, you have the Patriot level, the Got Your Six level, the Devil Dog, which I'm going to take. Are these one person, like one? How's it work?
No, so the Patriot level is actually kind of cool because that's $100 level, and you can actually sponsor a state or a country. So, like if you scroll down on the page, it shows you kind of what states are already like blocked out, because some people have said like, oh, I want
like sign up now.
Huh?
I'm just wondering if I click sign up now. Okay, it goes to Stripe. So So I want to see that, like on the map, it shows you which.
Yeah. So scroll down. Actually, scroll down on the sponsorship or the
back on the sponsorship.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. Real time stuff.
Or actually, it's see. So the ones that are blacked out, those have already been reserved.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's
Okay.
just like, so those are the ones that have been reserved so far. Actually, Alabama got reserved yesterday, so we have to update that map. But so basically what happens is when somebody has a pancake in the like Missouri, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, I think that's West Virginia, and Florida, then we'll put their logo instead of penny pancake. So we have penny pancake that's normally on the states when the states have a pancake picture. But we're allowing people to put their own state logo. So we also have chili. Chili's been sponsored already too.
All right. So hold on a second.
So that's the Patriot level.
That's a page 11. So what you're saying, gang, I'm speaking to you all who say, Tommy D, how can we help? Well, here's how. You can sponsor this organization. You can sponsor state. So just let's say if you had a company, it was called Philanthropy and Focus, and it was in Focus, productions and consulting, and you wanted to have your little caricature all over the map. You could do that for $100 is what you're telling me. For each state, you pay $100. That is fun. That is cool.
Yeah. So that's the first person to the state wins. So it's just like, so you request it. And then, like right now, I mean, there's plenty of states available because it's not February yet. So we always just tell people to request the state. And if it's not available, then we get right back to you and say, hey, Missouri's already taken. Is there another state or country that you would like to sponsor?
I got an angle that I almost don't want to share my angle with everybody, but I will because I love everybody. Here's the deal. Actually, I want to sponsor Texas. And because I want my logo to be the biggest logo on the oh my God, I'll take Texas. Whoever's in accounting, Tommy D will take Texas. What about these other sponsorships?
So the other sponsorships, so like I said, we're running 2 weightlifting competitions, one on February 4th in New York City and one on February 10th in Kansas City. These are annual sponsorships because like I said, we're building the endowment. Yeah. So right now our shirts have gone to printing for the competition. So the logos are locked for the shirts for the first run. If we do additional runs and somebody sponsors at a Got Your 6 level or above, then we'll actually incorporate their logos on there as well. But you also get, some swag. So you get signed card copies of the book, you get a copy of you get a competition t-shirt, and then you'll get shout outs on social media as well during the month of February during our pancake campaign. But then these will be listed then as our partners until January 31st of 2025.
So check that out, gang. You get to be partnered up with this incredible mission all year. They're going to be shouting you out, like, see, social media, a little promotion on social media. You get it, starts at the Devil Dog. Now, why Devil Dog?
So Devil Dog is a nickname for Marines.
For Marines, okay. It's also a great tasty treat if you've ever had them with the Devil's Food Cake with the little.
Yeah, so these are all military. And then my father was a major general, 2-star general, so that last logo for the front lines is a hat tip to him. Yeah, right, and snake eaters are special forces.
So cool. You mentioned Goggins earlier in the show. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, gang, but go to pancakesforroger.com, and some of you who are only listening, go to pancakesforroger.com and you'll see what we were talking about. Or watch it, or go watch the streaming somewhere. All right, everywhere: Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. I don't know. Logan, tell me where else. Twitch. I'm on Twitch. I don't even know what it was. We had this gang of folks from Twitch that are playing games, listening to Philanthropy and Focus, which is like that is kind of a big deal for me to find out that
they feel like they'd be good pancake eaters.
I think any gang, if you like pancakes, reach out to us. So how do they do that? How do you do, Susan Combs? How do you do? My nana used to say that when I was a little boy. How do they get in touch? How do we want to do that?
I mean, they can reach out through their website, but to be honest, February is what, 5 days away, 6 days away. 100%. So get to eating pancakes. I mean, and that's the thing. So there's also the book, like I said, so we count pictures double if you have a picture with pancakes and the book.
In the book.
Mm-hmm. So if you have the book and pancakes, or, and I'll tell you, we get creative because I've had people say, Susan, I know your father died of Agent Orange related throat cancer. I want to do something good, but I just can't choke down pancakes. I'm like, okay, then be creative. Do you like crepes? Do you like kimchi pancakes? Do you like scallion pancakes? We call waffles pancakes with abs. There's a lot of creative things that you can do. And then, to be honest, you don't have to prove that you ate those pancakes.
You just have a picture with them. So here's the thing, guys. You can grant your pancakes to someone who likes pancakes. All you got to do is order them or make them, and then you show the picture, and then you call me, and I'll come over and eat them.
There you go.
I'm telling you this. I have 4 children. The fact that I get to now eat pancakes with a purpose. Oh my goodness. How about that? Pancakes with a purpose. How about that? Now that I get to eat those, And it's not just because I'm a bit of a fatty, it's because I like to eat pancakes.
Well, and February's Pancake Month. It's like National Pancake Day. I think it's February 28th. Yeah.
Look at that. And your dad's birthday is the 22nd.
February 22nd. Yeah. So the book actually came out on his birthday, 2/22/22.
You know, my sister loves things with numbers like that.
Yeah, it's an angel number. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I just wanted to share a picture of your dad. I just on the website.
Yeah, and I think it links to his Wikipedia page. So my dad has a 4-page Wikipedia page if you want to look at his service.
Yeah, I'm afraid if I click something and it doesn't look good on this.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so okay, so I want to say something about that picture right there.
Where he's in the plane. Yeah.
Yeah, so my great uncle, so my dad's uncle was in the state House of Representatives in the state of Missouri. So when my dad was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam, his uncle was running for re-election. So he sent bumper stickers to my dad, and my dad took bumper stickers and put them all over the helicopters in Vietnam.
How did that go?
That's what that picture is. Yep.
Did State Representative Combs have a big contingent of fans in Vietnam? Like, did he get a lot of votes? The mail-in votes, I guess.
Yeah, I don't even know. It's something I never asked my father, but it's just so I had seen this one picture, but then after my dad passed, we found like 10 pictures of these with 10 different helicopters with all the freaking bumpers.
That weren't his. Your father wasn't in the picture. It was other guys that were.
No, my dad was in every single picture. No, my dad was laying out, like, you know.
What a cool man! What a cool man! Listen, I'm glad to know his story. Obviously, I didn't know him when he was with us, you know, in this realm, but I'm glad to know his story. And like anything else, like everybody I have on this show and everybody that's connected to the nonprofit world, and I want to go back to how we started the show, do more, better. And I think that make the world a better place just for the fact that you were here, gang. That's what it is. Like that's legacy, and you've created legacy here in what your dad is all about, and continues to live on. How else can we help before we get out of here?
I mean, seriously, like share the message, share the hashtag, seriously, anytime you're having a stack of pancakes, just take a picture and use the hashtag, send it to us, tag our Instagram account, tag our Facebook account. I mean, of course, we love sponsorships. If you're in New York City or in Kansas City, we'd love to have you join us for our dragon slaying competitions. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's the late. I can't say the words. That's the weightlifting is the dragon slaying competition.
Yeah, and it's weightlifting, but it's also a little bit CrossFitty. But I'll tell you, it's fun, and we have sick prizes. We have great sponsors. Sexy Batch is a bakery here in Queens that's doing they're actually doing a pancake cookie. It's going to be called the Dragon Slayer. So it's got
shout out to Sexy Batch. Where are they?
They're in Queens. They're in Astoria. Yeah.
So one last question. Here's the thing. It like if you're, because this is true for a lot of the people I think that plug into, and I don't mean this to be a wise guy, but that plug into the CrossFit, the healthy living, right? Pancakes are not exactly, I made my joke, I call myself a fatty, that's rude. But the point of the matter is, like, what are we talking about? Like, healthy people want to have healthy alternatives. So there is an alternative. Like,
you can have protein pancakes. And I'll tell you, if you're doing CrossFit and you're doing strongman like we are, you're eaters.
Yeah, right on. Okay.
Yeah, we throw down pancakes just like anybody.
You can eat your pancakes.
Absolutely. You work it off.
Right. See, I eat my pancakes and then don't do the work. So March is going to be tough for me. I think that's going to be.
I'll tell you, by March 1st, I don't want to see a pancake for a couple months. I'm pancake overload. Yeah.
I believe it. Well, I will tell you this. I've also looked at some, I've Googled, I've looked into, I've looked in some clothing that represents pancakes. I will just leave it out there because last year I got kind of aware of this too late in the year, but now we're way ahead of it. Talk about way ahead of it. I'm over time. Susan Combs, thanks for being here. Pancakes for Roger. I appreciate you. Got to send out love to my friend Sean O'Rourke, because Sean, if you didn't see this vision, putting us both together, this wouldn't happen. Make it a great day, everybody. We're over time. Steve Fry will be up next. Later, gang. Bye.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.